I've always had a keen interest in the unexplained, the events that happen on the fringes of our consciousness, the interactions people claim they have with entities, call them ghosts if you like, or cryptid type creatures, has really interested me. In late 2024, I had the idea of meeting up with the Nessie Hunter, Steve Feltham. Today's the day I leave Hull and revisit the area and hopefully have a chat with Steve.
We never seen nothing like this. I'm about to blow your mind with a twist. Hit the lights, here I go. I make the rules, I run the show. Get ready for it. Get ready. I'm in my new era. I'm better in my new era. I'm better in my new.
Here we go, Scotland, we are bound. I'm really looking forward to this trip. It's the first time I've been since 1998, and that was the last time I spoke to Steve Feltham, the Nessie Hunter. So, let's see what this journey brings. Right, 478 miles. 478 miles I've done from Hull to get to the Doors Inn, which is just past Inverness. For those of you who don't see the connection between the Doors Inn and this strange phenomena, I'll give you a clue. We are just yards away from where Steve Feltham, the Nessie Hunter, has been there for 31 years. So, I think at this point I am going to get a brew on, something to eat, and you know what? We'll catch Steve in the morning and see if he'll talk to Truth Proof. Tell us a little bit about when you first came here, Steve, and what gave you the impetus and what gave you the drive and the passion to come?
Well, I've had a lifelong fascination with this body of water and its mystery since coming here when I was 7, and that fascination just grew with me. Many children that come here even today at age 7, they fall in love with the possibilities, but that fascination never left me, and it sort of had many more family holidays up here that rekindled that interest. And in my mid-20s I left the creative work that I'd been doing and I went into a partnership installing security alarms. Instantly hated it and instantly thought, what do I really want to do with my life? Do I want to settle down and get married and have kids? And on the other shoulder was this voice saying, go and find the Loch Ness monster, go and find the monster. And I thought, well, I don't know if I'm going to last a year or 3 years or 33 years, but I'm going to give it a try because I don't want to reach the end of my life and look back and say, well, when I was 28, I had the chance to do it and I decided not to. I would rather take the chance and fail than have feared taking the chance. So, sold up, bought this old van and never looked back, really.
Your vigil to look for the monster,
Yeah.
what has that resulted in over the years, Steve?
Well, I've had one mysterious sighting on the surface at the other end in the first year. A few sonar contacts when I'm on boats. You get contacts, but a sonar will only ever show you a small blob for the salmon or a big blob for something unidentified. Doesn't tell you the actual outline of it. I think because I'm here full time, living here, people all around Loch Ness know I'm here. So if somebody else, a visitor or a local, sees something down the other end or wherever, they come along to me and they say, well, look at this photograph I've just taken. I think it's the monster, and I'll look at it. And I would say that 90% of the time I can say, well, it's a duck, or it's the wind, or it's waves, or it's whatever it might be. And let them down gently and keep that image out of the public domain. But maybe 5% of the time, it's people that are actually deliberately trying to make a fake and deliberately trying to trick. And those I really go after. So I've proven a lot of photographs to be deliberate fakes over the years. Which, if I wasn't here full time, those photographs would still be in the body of evidence. And the other 5% of what gets showed to me, I can't explain, and that's the stuff that I push into the public domain and say, right, we all need to look at this. I don't know what this is.
It doesn't help over the years that the red top newspapers have run with these photographs that you probably debunked and said they're no good, they're bottom shelf.
I mean, I know a lot of people that live in the local communities that look at a newspaper story of somebody's sighting where the article is slightly taking the mick out of that witness, and people will say to me, I don't know why they spoke publicly in the first place. I wouldn't if I saw it. That sort of attitude from people. But I think it's got even worse now with the sort of 24-hour rolling news that we live with.
Yeah.
And literally the clickbait that, I mean, there's the webcam, and there's a guy on the webcam that every month he'll fire out. He knows it's a duck. Ducks and canoes or anything, as long as it looks slightly mysterious, he knows it's nonsense. He knows the things that he's putting out there.
Yeah.
But the media, they know it's nonsense as well, but they don't care. They think, we'll just put that online and people will click on it and they'll see the advertising. People are not particularly good, I've learnt, at judging size over water, so that's a problem. And I think historically that it explains why, as a child, I used to think the Loch Ness Monster was 40 foot long. Well, that's pretty big, and that's based on witnesses that have said, it must have been 40 foot long. Now I know that I meet many people that say, I saw something out there and it was 30 foot long, this thing, and they'll show me a photograph of it and I can see that it's a wave that's maybe 12 foot long. That is a problem.
What do you think of these accounts where they've actually seen something? Is it this road on what they call that one, the A80, where they've seen something slither across the road? Do you see any?
I'm not convinced.
I think there's been at least 2 reports of that, hasn't there?
At least 2, yeah.
One back in the 60s or 50s.
In New Year's Day 1933 over there, and the Spicers along this road.
That's it. That's the one I was thinking
before
of.
That, in 1932, I think.
Yeah, that was quite early on, wasn't it?
But I mean, there's a lot of traffic especially on that road. There's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
This road, there's regular traffic. You don't have to stand long on that road before a car passes you. So, I would have thought in the last nearly 100 years, these animals would have crossed the road again if they'd been crossing the road. So I'm not convinced by land sightings, really. I would say that the number of reports that I get per year of genuinely mysterious things that warrant further investigation, I would say that has been going down for all the time I've been here, 33 years. First few years, I'd maybe hear of 30 or more possible sightings, of which most were false alarms, but the ones that were still mysterious within that, probably about 5 or 6 per year. Now, these days, I think we're down to 2 or 3, and that could be because this small population of animals could be dwindling out. We could be looking for the last 1 or 2 now. We don't know, but definitely the reports that I hear a lot more false alarms. I probably hear of 50 false alarms a year nowadays, but only 2 or 3 that I can say that's worth investigating.
How deep is the Loch? It's its deepest part.
It's the deepest bit. Loch Ness is about getting on towards 750 feet. It's 1.25 miles wide, about 1.5 miles at its widest bit at Urquhart Bay. 23 miles long, and it's straight-sided and flat-bottomed. So it's like a giant bathtub. Imagine that.
So you talked earlier about the sonar findings, and how excited was you over seeing those?
I think the sonar that is being obtained is probably the best quality of evidence that I've ever seen here.
Right.
And it comes from the boat that operates at Fort Augustus. It does hour-long tours. He's been doing those tours for over 40 years. So he passes over the same route 8 or 10 times a day. So he knows all of the anomalies, and several times per year they get contacts with things that are mid-water, deep down, far bigger than a salmon. And for a machine to just, it's not like we talk about people misjudging size over water. A sonar machine, doesn't have that capability. If it's that size, it will tell you, there it is, and it's that size. If it's the size of a salmon, it will tell you, it's the size of a salmon. And the sonar machine keeps saying, there's something far bigger than what we know is in here. There's 7 rivers that flow in from the hills around, but it's either, if it's coming in and out, which I am a little bit sceptical of, mainly because the depth of the River Ness in the centre of Inverness is very shallow, so you'd see the thing waddling up past Johnny Fox's.
Yeah.
And so I think it's probably landlocked in here, whatever these animals are.
Welcome to the shores of Loch Ness. Been here a couple of days. Already talked to Steve Feltham, the Nessie Hunter, and it's absolutely amazing. So if I just probably pan round, and you can probably see the loch, and it's glorious this morning. I think it got round to about -5, and that's the view today. The sun has yet to appear above the mountain tops, and what does appear is shining right onto this side of the loch. Absolutely amazing. So what is the fascination with this loch? Obviously the main draw for people is probably because of the Loch Ness monster, and really at the end of the day that is what brings a lot of tourists to this area. But it's not just about searching for Nessie. I think it holds a special place in people's hearts I think people who've heard about Loch Ness and its pure beauty come on that basis. And in general, Scotland alone benefits because the beautiful mountains and landscapes is second to none. It's absolutely amazing. I was talking to a guy yesterday and he was telling me of why he comes to the Loch. And basically he lost his wife 20 years ago, and every year since he drove up from the south coast, and on that day each year he tosses roses into the Loch in memory of his wife. Now, him telling the story was pretty touching in itself, and to think that people actually can travel all those miles from the south coast of England into Loch Ness just to perform that ritual in remembrance of their wives. That's it. 3 days at Loch Ness, and I've got to thank Steve Feltham for the interview that he's done. Absolutely marvellous scenery, marvellous people I met up there as well. So my main concern now is getting home, getting a bit of food down me, and then straight to bed. And just one last thing, here is the beautiful crafted Nessie that Steve Feltham has done, and I think you'll agree, it's fantastic.